We've got Thomas in Ohio. Thank you so much for waiting. You're saying that humans are the image of God and therefore are gods. That's an interesting perspective. You want to talk about that? You're on with Jenna and Dave.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me on,
Thomas. Yeah.
So it's a thing that kind of, if you can understand it, it kind of I run into problems being a theist with other theists because of the conventional understanding of that, of God being an abstract being. I also, at the same time, I understand atheism, but I also don't believe it exists, because here's the thing is, what I understand deity is, and this comes from the Bible, and I understand the definition in Webster's, is that us just being humans, whether we're theists or atheists, like, we can't help but be what a deity is. And so, for me, like, science doesn't disprove a God. Logic is sort of, it doesn't necessarily work out all the time. And my overall point is that we emanate deity, human beings. And I can break it down, like, so if I could kind of change the definition, which I don't know is allowed, of God, and use another term, which is humanity. Who is humanity? Is it the person, and while listening to the show, say someone's doing something wrong, and they're the type that would do something wrong. It's like, that's an aspect of us that comes out. And there's another aspect of us that says, we can't do that. We need to stop this, and this doesn't work out. And, like, just basically within nature itself, we humans prove, in my mind, that a God exists. And therefore, whether you claim to be a theist, and just to this real quick, like, I don't believe that all theists are theists and all atheists are actually atheists when we break down reality in terms of behavior. Now, the creation of the sun, that's a whole different, that has nothing to do with, in my opinion, us as a deity. However, we can learn and this and that, and eventually we may become this or that, and that might be what people have read in books about deity. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I think that's
are you a
up.
deist or a theist?
Hold up, Thomas. We need some clarity here.
Okay, I'm as far as I've tried to deal with deism, and I probably am a deist. I know there's a God, but I don't understand certain things about it.
You don't know there's a God, Thomas. You think there's a God, but you don't know there's a God. Sorry, that's just
no. In my opinion, I know.
No, you think.
I think I do know.
Well, I understand that feeling. I thought the same thing. Can I ask you? You said that science doesn't disprove a God. First of all, I don't disagree with you there. Science doesn't disprove a God, and I don't think it's science's job to disprove a God. I don't think that it's science's job to disprove Santa Claus or the Tooth Fairy. It doesn't disprove any of that, because how do you prove that something doesn't exist? Unless you have it and can, it just doesn't. So, you also said that atheists aren't really atheists and theists aren't really theists. Do you mind elaborating on that for me, please?
Well, I mean, some it's like some are and some aren't. Like,
how do you know that? No, again, really Thomas, hold up. That's a declarative statement. I mean, are you the one that decides which atheists are not really atheists?
Well, I determine it in my own mind. I'm myself.
Okay. Again, those are your opinions.
You're right.
Those are you're setting a lot of opinions as facts, and I want to push back on that, because you're stating things as facts that are nothing more than your opinions. I just want to be clear.
You understand that?
What can I say? Well, I do, but what else can I say besides what I believe?
Didn't say you believe it. Say I believe this, or I think this, rather than declaring something is so. When you say that there are atheists who are not really atheists, that's something you can't declare. You don't have the ability to know that.
Can I ask you a question, Thomas? What is the difference between knowledge and belief?
The difference between knowledge and belief is knowledge is there's I don't know, that's a broad question, because there's a way to believe that is knowledge. Like I can believe that at the end of the year I'm going to have the most expensive car that exists. I can believe that, and I can also, like, that can be a form of knowledge. You understand?
So do you think that they mean the same thing?
No, Thomas. No.
Well, the terms can be used broadly, in my opinion.
So you think that they're interchangeable, is what I'm asking.
I do.
You think that they are the same thing? Okay, Dave, you want to take it?
Thomas, I think we've got a problem with your terms here. You've got a lot of terms that I think you're not using correctly. When you say belief is interchangeable with knowledge, that doesn't make any sense, Thomas. I'm sorry. That's just not how those words, it's not what those words mean. Belief is by its definition a thing that you believe, not a thing that you know. So you can believe that Jesus rose from the dead, but you don't know that. You can believe that you'll have the most expensive car known to man by the end of the year, but you don't know that until the end of the year comes. Then if you have it, you'll know it. You'll see it in your driveway, and you won't have to believe it. They're not interchangeable words. I'm sorry, that's not how that works.
So Thomas, I just went ahead and just Googled, just said difference between knowledge and belief, and I wonder if you agree with this. Okay, are you ready? I'm gonna say what it says. It says a belief is a subject requirement for knowledge. Knowledge is defined as, quote, justified true belief. In other words, a belief can be considered knowledge as long as it is justified truth. Do you understand what justified truth is?
Sure.
What is it?
Justified truth is having a reason to believe what you believe, which is why I believe that
No. I disagree with that. I think justified truth, justified implies that you have investigated and determined that it is in fact true. Do you agree?
Yes.
So do you understand the difference between knowledge and belief now?
Yes, I understand the difference.
So what is it?
So what?
Okay, so let's
remember, I asked you the question, what is the difference between belief and knowledge? That is the question that I asked. Since you said you understand it.
Belief and knowledge. Belief is potential knowledge, in my opinion. Concerning your definitions, I don't believe that we necessarily need to be limited to that. And I understand that this is what we're trying to say everybody agrees on, and this is all there is to the definition, but I don't think like that, because I believe that there's a degree of knowledge, like you're saying, that belief is reasonable within a certain relativity of what you're talking about. You know what I mean?
So who determines when everybody should believe that? You or me or Dave?
No. Well, that's what I was trying to break down humanity, because that's how humanity works. We all believe different things, even behaviorally. You don't necessarily even have to go into an atheist or theistic argument to decipher that. It's just the way we are. So
okay.
A million people can, right.
So I believe that your name is Thomas, and that is because it says here Thomas from Ohio. Okay, so that is a belief. Now, as far as whether I want to, I can say that I know your name is Thomas. I can do things like I can look at your social security card or your birth certificate or your driver's license, and I can verify that that is in fact your name. That is actually your name. Okay, do you understand the difference? that I've investigated at a certain point, and that's when I can say I know that your name is Thomas.
Okay, but
So,
and that's that. Okay, but that's not necessarily a possibility in all situations.
correct. So that I don't necessarily have to know that your name is Thomas. I'm good with just believing it and going with it because it doesn't necessarily matter to me that much. Now, if this is really, really, really important that I know that your name is Thomas, then I would absolutely do everything I could to verify it. If my life depended on it, if Day's life depended on it, I would try to do everything I could to verify it because it matters that I, in fact, know it. So when you say that these things are interchangeable, you lose me.
Because that's not specifically my point. My point is we emanate God out of ourselves. So knowing yourself is specifically why deity.
Well, before we can get into that conversation, we have to get down to the terminology on what these words that you're using actually mean. Otherwise, we're just going to be talking in circles.
About
why do we
knowledge?
Yeah, well, no, about God. You said we emanate God, and that doesn't make any sense unless we determine what this God is that you're saying we emanate.
Well, how would you? Okay, so what name would we give to humanity itself? Are we evil? Is humanity evil? Are we a virus? What would you describe humanity? What would you?
Humanity is a collection of people, and we do good and we do bad, and there are people who are somewhat more evil than others. There are people who are better. I mean, we're a collection of good and bad. We're a collection of people, most of us, trying to do the best we can every day. Why is there no? You listen. Why is there a God? Stop. I'm talking. And you can't talk when you can't listen if I'm talking. So when I'm saying you keep trying to bring God into it, I'm saying we're humanity. We don't need to emanate a God. We don't need there to be a God. You seem to need there to be a God, and you don't have any evidence for that God. You simply want to believe, and there's no knowledge that God even exists, even if we were to define what that God is. And when Jenna was saying it doesn't matter whether she believes what your name is, what's important is that there's a God making a claim on our lives, and parents are teaching their children that they're going to go to hell unless they believe in Jesus. It's important when that comes into play, because then we have to determine, is there knowledge to back up this belief? Is there evidence to back up this belief? No, there's not. So that's why we talk about these things, because they matter. They're impacting people's lives. Whether we believe or your name's Thomas or not doesn't.
Okay. And so in a sense, essentially what I feel is going on is you're trying to name God. But now let's say that we are 7 billion and portions of us think, well, hear me out. Okay, please.
Well, we have a couple of callers left that we'd really like to get to.
Yeah, I think,
if you can summarize.
Yeah, go ahead. Wrap it up, Thomas.
You guys have a great day.
Okay, thank
sorry
you, Thomas.
About that.
His terminology was just all over the map.
If we can't agree on terms,
we
can't have the same conversation.
Yeah, and that's why that conversation was confusing.